Everybody's leaving Twitch. They're all going to YouTube. We're doomed. Myth left, Lily left. That's about it, actually. Most people are saying. On Twitch, there's a bunch of feature upgrades as well. We've got live streaming happening to Instagram now. What else is happening, boys? I'm LJ, one of your hosts on the Stream Room podcast. Who else is here?
I'm Nicktacular. Welcome, guys.
Hello,
and
Nick.
I believe, I am Reapz. That is confirmed.
Yeah.
Hello,
Yeah,
Reapz. Yeah. Hi.
Hey, how you going?
Morning, boys. Hello.
Good, good. We're also announcing, very exciting today, we saw how much Amaranth and Belle Delphine have made, and we've decided to all start OnlyFans.
Yes. Every single one.
It's the only logical conclusion, really, when you see that someone's made $33 million, $1.5 million a month from doing OnlyFans.
Yep, that's right. That's how much I made.
Wow, LJ, are you the top earner? Actually, who is the top earner on OnlyFans? Let me do some research while we're talking about it.
It's me. You don't need to stop. It's me.
I need to admit something to you boys. You're gonna be very shocked.
Go on.
Okay.
I already had an OnlyFans. Dun,
What?
Dun, dun.
Go on.
Go on. Yes. So once upon a time, when OnlyFans, launched and people were finding out about it, I, as a meme, made an account called Craptacular42, and I have this crab outfit, and I dressed up as a crab and just took like sexy pose photos in the crab outfit and put it on OnlyFans. I made it completely free, but that was it. That was literally what happened. The weirdest and funniest part, 2 random people actually followed and subscribed to the page.
Hey, look, that's some money in the bank.
It was free. There was no money.
Shit. You idiot. You should have at least charged
I know. Done.
I heard Moist
not
Critical
worth it.
also did a similar thing where he posted his feet. I don't think he did it under I'm Moist Critical and here's my feet, but he put
He did.
he just put feet up there and apparently didn't make any money. So he says, there is some kind of notoriety that you need for people to actually find your stuff.
It's hard work.
Yeah,
it is hard work. I think a lot of people, think it's not hard work. I know I got a lot of SSN commenters, not all of them, but I got a lot of SSN commenters who are a bit salty about OnlyFans workers and stuff like that. And to that I say, let's be real, you're just jealous.
Yeah.
Because you know what? I feel like most people who have a go at OnlyFans workers, hot tub streamers, big Twitch streamers, all that stuff, it's probably just a little bit of jealousy, right, boys?
Definitely.
Fuck, I wish I was making that much money.
Yeah. I mean, it is that thing of $1.5 million a month is basically the average on what Amaranth received. And who was the other person? Anyway.
Belle Delphine.
Yeah. And the thing is, most of the time people think, they're just nudes and stuff like that. But no, they're just kind of not at all. It's just they want to see an Instagram. It's just like an Instagram, different variations. I'm sure very sexy poses, don't get me wrong. Boys, let's pool our funds together and maybe do some more in-depth research. But
yes,
most of the time it's not this. I think people believe, it's just hardcore porn. They're just selling porn. When really,
it's not Ammo. Ammo doesn't do any. Ammo's
Exactly.
only done lewds. And then I think she did one topless photo. From when because I'm subscribed, so from memory,
course,
I think she's only
I'm
done
tier
one
3 as well,
topless
don't
photo.
worry.
I was gonna say LJ's our expert in this department.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of weird that people are so kind of intense about it. Personally, I think it's almost kind of okay, well, would you be this intense about someone creating a Patreon? You know what I mean? I think the term OnlyFans has gotten a lot of flack these days, but I look at it and I go, fuck, that looks like a lot of work.
Yeah.
I looked at the Patreon yesterday, speaking of. I don't think I'm going to launch a Patreon or anything like that, but I was looking at it because I wanted to understand the platform better for what I do. You know what I mean? Because I get a lot of questions. And I actually think it's sick, to be entirely honest. I think that the Patreon system is really, really cool. The way the tiers work, the benefits work. It was also so easy to set up. And they have things like goals where you can set it to be when we get 100 patrons, we'll start X project. When we get, or you can also do, or you can do a dollar value as well. When we get to this dollar value a month reoccurring, we'll do this.
Yeah.
Really, really cool. And it has automatic, you can go I'm thinking of starting a podcast, right? And it sets up 3 tiers by default and then goes, most people who start a podcast have these tiers. This is what they price them at. And this is what they usually give to people.
Right.
And I was like, damn, this is really, really cool. Really, really easy to do and stuff like that.
That sounds freaking awesome.
It was so easy. But I don't think I'm not starting a Patreon anytime soon. As I said, it literally is just I want to be better at understanding it.
Yep.
Especially because with the platform wars that continue to rage on, I think a lot of people should consider looking at extra places where they can build support and get their core community stuck around. You know what I mean? Like, I was thinking about Discord recently on the topic of platforms, and I was using Discord, and I was like, man, I really want to upgrade my Discord. I was like, I want to upgrade my Discord to make it so that my community are like more active. And so I added 4 new channels. We're going to talk about only like 3 of them. One of them is called Hype Me Up, where anyone can post saying, hey, I need some hyping, right? Don't give a reason. In fact, it's probably better not to give a reason. You just say, hype me up. And the community goes in and goes, woo, you can do this. You're sick. You know what I mean? The second one is called Share Your Status, where you just throw out like a line like, man, I had a really good day today at work. Or you can throw, a negative one out there as well. Some of my heralds, my community heralds were like, is Share Your Status a venting channel? And I was like, no, not really. I think it's just like a mindset thing. Like if you look at it, you might go, that's a venting channel. Yeah. But when I look at it, it's like, just throw out how you're doing, right? Like it's pretty normal. And then the last one, the third channel that I want to talk about, the one that has been the most successful, was I made a new channel called Count to 100. And I said the rules were, can we count to 100 as a community without anyone interrupting the count? No double ups. You can't like type the same one back to back, and it has to just be 1 to 100 without skipping whatsoever. Holy crap, this channel has not stopped going off since I created it like a week ago now.
Wow.
And finally, while I was asleep, someone got to 100. So I changed the channel name to Count to 200. And so then they started going negative. So they counted backwards to negative 200. And I said, well, that doesn't count. So then they had to count from negative 200 forward. And these these wars have started where there's people like Phase on Kiwi, who we all know from our chats, now pops in anytime they get close to getting to the goal and goes, hey guys, how you doing? And just ruins the count and they have to start again.
Love you, Faison. That's great.
Oh, Faison, legendary. That's
you know
awesome.
why he's doing it? He's self-admitted to being salty because they got up to 69 and then I ruined it on them on the first count.
LJ.
But it's so active now, and we got a whole bunch of new people have been joining in on it. Some regulars and stuff.
Does it have to be? Can two people like do it like an alternate up to 100?
Yeah, technically 2 people could, but it's very hard to do because someone will usually pop in and be like,
that would just double it up, and it's like, crap, we're gonna start again.
When people were counting before, we had a kind of a day where it was like the Wild West. After they got to 100, it kind of became the Wild West for a little bit. Where people were just doing whatever they wanted, and like some people were trying to be like, don't stop the count even if it gets broken, and they were like pushing for it and stuff. It's whole wars, man, of fighting over this thing. So me and one of my mods started counting them backwards. They'd be like 67, 68, and then I'd post 67, and then Cheeseman would post 66, and we started counting them backwards. They were like, no, stop it.
That's great. There is this like drama game which you have to do to get focused, right? It's called 21. So if you imagine all these actors or actresses are in a circle, you close your eyes and you have to do exactly what you said, LG, but you say it out loud. So 1, 2, you can't just go in a circle, all this thing. And if you double up or somebody gets out of order, then you got to start backwards. It's basically just, we're in each other's minds, everyone. And that is a great idea because that I could easily see kind of like the old Reddit pixel mural thing. I can see that as kind of like a genesis of these wars of numbers where people are just trying to count to 100.
It was good. It's been really, really good. It's been a really active channel. And the Share Your Status channel has been getting a lot of activity as well, and like people replying back to it and stuff. And I've been looking at Discord bots as well to add and like create stuff like that, because I think a Discord is really important. And while I was looking at Discord bots, I found a really, really good one that I think everyone should add called Cutie Chan. Cutie Chan is your premium Discord waifu bot. She's an anime woman.
Oh, yes.
An anime waifu who you can give head pats to. You can shake her hand. You can talk to her. All in public. Has to be a public server. You could even, weirdly, don't know why this would be in there, you can give her a slap. They've coded in that you can slap your anime waifu. Very Sean Connery, if you ask me. And then my favorite part is that they've also built in the feature, and it's like the second in the list on Cutie Chan. It's like, hey, you can talk to her. You can hang out with her. She can be your girlfriend. Second feature, she'll get you porn. And essentially, you can just ask Cutie Chan, ! porn, and she'll bring you one of the 4 categories. Or if you want, you can specifically ask for a category. Now, boys, Cutie Chan has 4 categories, which everyone knows there are 4 categories to all porn. And Cutie Chan will bring you either boobs, ass,
Do you like those?
Rule 34, or just straight up hentai in your public Discord server. She's got it all covered. She'll come on in and she'll hand it to you.
Or uncovered, yeah. That's good. I mean, definitely one to think about if you are starting your own Discord, because we get those questions in the Q&As. Just think about what's the name of the bot so everyone can know, LJ?
QT Chan.
Okay,
Q the letter,
you.
T the letter, Chan, CHAN. And if you want to see it, you can just come to mine. It's already.
Can you imagine like the Discord admins, right? Someone applies, gets enough activity in their server to apply for Discord partnership, right? So then one of the Discord representatives, they're like, all right, cool. So we got another channel. They've got some really good engagement. Let's go see what they're doing in the Discord. Porn.
Dude, there are so many like that though. There are so many, even streamer Discords. I've joined a bunch of streamer Discords before, like, oh yeah, I like this streamer, I'll check it out. And they've just got not safe for work channels where they're just aggressive, it's just full of just porn.
Yeah.
Just like,
and Discord they do not want any of that stuff. Like
No,
they will just
no.
straight up deny you if they see any of that stuff.
Understandably, I guess, when it comes to Discord. But I'm back onto Patreon very quickly. I really like Patreon. I like the whole design of it and everything like that. The only thing that I don't like is, have you ever used the app? Because I am signed up to a Patreon. It's basically like a podcasting Patreon. And to find old posts, you literally have to scroll through it all. You can't. There's not a filter that you can type in and go, I want to find this thing. You have to scroll through it years and years to find the one that you are after. So if you're listening Patreon, if you can do a filter, that would be tremendous. I'd really like that.
Do they offer that on the website? Like
Maybe on the website, but I usually use my app, listen to podcast. I listen to it when I walk. Yeah.
I think it is supposed to like be a kind of like an Instagram feed for creators kind of thing though.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. They probably should add something like a filter, but I think that's probably part of their design would be that we don't want you to be able to subscribe for 1 month, see all the content you want. It's subscribe for 1 month, and then you have to scroll through and find everything. You know what I mean? Like they kind of. I think that might be like a specific forced way of doing it, so that people don't just subscribe and get everything they want and then leave. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Patreon looks interesting. I don't want people thinking I'm trying to monetize, so I'm like being very careful to say I'm not using it. It was just research purposes. But I like it. I think it's really, really cool. And I think if I ever end up switching platforms, like other people do, I think I'd probably start a Patreon, to be entirely honest. I'd probably start it for about 6 months prior to the switch. And then once it had built up, I switch over. And that way I don't lose all my subs in one go kind of thing.
Smart. Very smart.
Yeah. I don't think anyone should be afraid of exploring the idea of setting up a Patreon if you feel like that you can offer some, good content over there.
Yeah.
Like
I'm just meaning because I'm just meaning for me. I don't want my audience to think. Because my audience already ends up like, they're subscribed over an SSN, they're subbed over here, they're doing this, And I've always said that I'm not trying to monetize from my audience, you know what I mean? Sometimes I do big sub streams and stuff like that. And that's honestly, when I do sub streams, it's less to do with the money and more to do with the sub count. Like I'm trying to like raise the sub count so that more people have ad-free viewing. I'm trying to raise the sub count so I can unlock another remote slot, you know what I mean? If I could edit this is a feature this is a weird one because this is a feature I love for YouTube, but I fucking hate for Twitch, is the idea of changing how much a sub costs. I know this, like Twitch doesn't do it. YouTube, you can set whatever price you want. I think on Twitch, it would be a terrible, terrible, terrible feature because it would lead to so much infighting of why is your sub $5 when that person is $1? You know what I mean? Like they'd lead to so much infighting between people.
It will lose its value. They're like, I'm not going to pay $5 anymore.
Yeah. I get everything you offer for $1 over here. But I think on YouTube, where there isn't so much of a community focus, where it's all connected, I think it's a great feature, which is so weird, isn't it? That like one platform, it's like perfect. The other platform, it's like, no, absolutely.
I was going to say,
yeah.
With the OnlyFans thing, can you set tiers, or is it like you set the price there? Or is
you set all your prices on all these platforms. None of these platforms force you. Like so OnlyFans, Patreon, Coffee, everything like that just lets you set entirely whatever tier and price you want. And you can have as many tiers and as many prices as you want. So you can have like a Patreon tier that's like $500 a month and people can message you. I was listening to the Trash Taste Boys on their pod, and the Connor was talking about how when he first started, he set it to be like 40 USD and you could pen pal and you get one letter from him a month. And he was like, fuck, that took so much work and blah, 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 like 30 minutes. So I guess it's fine to get 40 USD a month and for 30 minutes of work. But like, I was just like, man, that sounds like honestly like a really cool concept. To be entirely real with you, like, I'd probably, if I was doing a Patreon, I'd probably do like, yeah, if you're willing to support me $50, I'll pen pal with you once a month. You know what I mean? Like, I'll talk to you.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was such an interesting concept. And also, I think that one of the best parts about Patreon is that it's not platform specific. You know what I mean? You can promote a Patreon on Twitch, you can promote a Patreon on YouTube, on Discord, you can promote it on every platform and push people to it. It's not like on YouTube, I have to be like, hey, if you want to support me, you can consider subscribing with a membership, you know? And on Twitch, it's like, hey, subscribe over here. It's like, I'm not asking the same audience to subscribe across multiple platforms. I'm just saying, hey guys, you want to support me? There's that one platform. You get behind the scenes, you get an AMA once a month, you get all this stuff, go nuts. You know what I mean?
It's so cool. Yeah.
I think it is. I think it's really cool.
Yeah. There's so much potential to it. And like sorry, Reese, I mean,
no.
Over you. But yeah, for like, as so many people are trying to make content creation sustainable for themselves, Patreon is like a really big pillar for a lot of people. And I was saying, like, you know, like LJ was saying, all these different ideas, all these different things that you can do. If you're providing like a good value for all, like for the different tiers, like it's a great idea. And it's a balancing act. You got to see, well, do people think that I'm valuable enough at this price to do this thing or to watch this piece of content? But once you find that balance, I think it can be, really positive.
I was just going to say that I was looking at the Patreon. I was reading a bunch of Patreon stuff and they were saying, hey, don't set your lowest to be $1, which I thought was really funny because I was like, well, I can set it to be $1. I can do whatever I want. But then I read and they said that there's a higher conversion rate. People are more willing to pay $2 or $3 than they are to pay $1 on Patreon. And I was thinking about like why that is, because they didn't really give me an explanation about why that is. And in my head, I'm like, I can kind of understand that actually. Because I see $2, $3 and I'm like, yeah, I'm supporting them. That's fine. $2, $3, whatever. But I look at them and I go, $1? That's not really going to do much for them. You know what I mean? Like there's no value there, which is kind of the same as like, if I went into a store, right? And there were 2 air purifiers, which is a weird example, but I'm thinking of buying one. And like, they all do the same thing, but one of them is $200 and the other one is $250. And the only difference is like this one over here that's $250 is just built a little bit better. I'd probably feel more comfortable spending, you know, more money on the $250 one and being like, well, it's a better brand. It's this. It's not going to break down on me. So I'm not going to waste my $250. You know what I mean? And some people will be like, well, you've lost touch with the common man. And I would say, suck my left nut. I'm buying the $250 air purifier.
Yeah. No, hey, you have not. I'll give you an example. My dad is a very common man, right? Not tech savvy in the slightest. My mum bought this like super cheap budget like video like wireless doorbell, right? And I set it up and everything, and you know, seemed to at first just did not fucking work at all. Had to reset the entire thing for it to work. And so we've been using it, and then I set the app up on my phone and my parents' phones, and we're just getting frustrated because the thing doesn't work, the automation tasks don't set up. And my dad got to the point, he's like, and through this entire process, like, should we just, you know, buy get a good brand one? I'll spend the money on the more premium one. And my mum's like, no, we don't want to spend money. And dad's like, no, I want a good one. I want one that will work.
Yeah.
So absolutely, I get that completely. So now he's thinking of wanting
There's
the
research
Google
that's
one.
actually gone into this where, as you said with the thing before, LJ, but people will always feel sus if there's 2 things side by side that are billed as exactly the same, but one's cheaper than the other for the fact that they think it's a knockoff. Just for simple fact that it is cheaper than the other one. And usually that means it's of cheaper quality. So they pay extra. It also goes the same with tiers. Usually people have 3 tiers, right?
Yeah.
Basic, middle, premium, like you see on Netflix, like you see on everything else. And they know that most people go for the middle one because it's not too heavy. It's not too light. It's just right, that type of thing. So that's why they have it. They don't really want people to subscribe to the first one or the third one. They want people to subscribe.
The first one's also shit.
That's the thing.
First Netflix tier is 720p. Who orders 720p?
It's 480p. It's 480p.
Why?
Ridiculous, right? Get out of here, Netflix, you stupid. Sorry.
I already canceled Netflix entirely.
Yeah.
I got rid of it. Fuck them. Fuck Netflix, man. But no, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. But I have my YouTube tier set up on StreamScheme.
Yeah.
And I don't promote it. I don't promote it whatsoever on the old YouTube tiers over on StreamScheme. I just have it set up because I wanted to set it up in case I decided to do a video on it, in case whatever it was. Like, I think one of the really most important parts is of being a content creator is understanding your options.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like understanding everything you got going on, figuring it all out, and being able to weigh it all up properly, right? Which is why I know for a fact that if I move to YouTube, I could earn the same money I earn from subs now, but I could also literally save my audience money, which is weird, right? But I was looking at the tiers and stuff like that, and I never promote it. But you know what? I'm actually slowly building up paid members on Scheme.
Nice.
Which I thought was super, super interesting. Like it's only like 5 or 6, but again, I've never promoted it.
Yeah.
And it's like I think it's like $4 and they're paying like $2.50, so I get like $13 extra, which is nothing, right?
Is it
but
like,
imagine if
sorry. I was just gonna quickly ask, is it like Twitch where it's like if you subscribe to like the paid membership on that channel, you don't get ads on that channel?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but I just thought it was interesting. Like, imagine if, you know, at the start of videos, I started saying instead of ad reads, hey, if you really like this channel and you want to make it ad free, no sponsors, join a member. You know what I mean? I probably would never really promote it, to be honest, because I don't want people to feel like they have to pay for my content. You know, but at the same time, it just is interesting to understand the platform.
Yeah. For sure. And speaking of YouTube, if you like this video and the things that we do the likes and the comments and I think I nailed that. I think I really
I think there was a lot of confidence behind
confidence is what I was going for. And
subscribe and like the video. It helps us. Leave comments.
We want to get to 1,000. Can we do that? We're on the road to 1,000 subs, because once we do, I think that'll be a nice check off the list for us to hit 4 digis when it comes to subscribers on this channel. So
remember, do you guys remember when you were on the road to 1,000 followers on Twitch?
Oh, it was
so long ago.
Glorious days, glorious. LJ's face is like, I got that in the first day. Don't even look at me.
I think I got it in the first 2 months, maybe.
Yeah.
It was very, very, very quick because I was very, very lucky. I don't know, maybe not 2, maybe like 3 months. My 1,000 follower celebration was great though. So like what I used to do was I used to play a game, right? Whatever it was, I'd play a game and I'd have a lot of fun with it. And then I would wrap up for the last 2 hours of the stream by playing Animal Crossing. So it'd be like we open on a little bit of just chatting, we play our game, and then we wrap for like an hour or two, just running around Animal Crossing islands, checking people out, chatting, and like chill out, like kind of wind the stream down. Honestly, it was such a great system. I really should do it again. But when we were doing that, it was just so much fun, and the community got so intense and stuff like that, and we're so like community focused. Because when you're a smaller creator, your community is much more tight knit. You know what I mean? As you get large, your community becomes less and less tight knit. The longer you stream, I feel like sometimes your community gets less and less tight knit as well. But yeah, so I did this stuff, and when I reached 1,000 followers, we one of the things we love doing in Animal Crossing was we'd design clothes for our community to wear and stuff like that.
That's
and
cool.
so we designed all sorts of things. But I designed this like light blue hoodie for Animal Crossing characters. And then I drew a kind of like one of those classic carton of milk, but it was a small carton of strawberry milk with a strawberry on it and stuff like that. And then I put pink patches on it to make it look like there was like strawberry milk patches and like stuff like that over it. And on the back, it just had like a big milk splatter. And then in the middle, 1,000. And I put it in my store and I said, anyone who's here right now, you can come get this hoodie and you'll never be able to get this again. I'm taking it out of my Animal Crossing store. So if you want it, you come get it. And so there's only like 30 community members in my entire community. Probably most aren't even still there, who have this specific 1,000 follower hoodie. It was like doing free merch in a game. And it was like such a big community moment. Fireworks, I think it just released in Animal Crossing as well. So we were watching the fireworks and stuff.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it was a really, really cool moment, to be honest, to celebrate like that. And it wasn't like a big deal as well. It was like just such a normal thing to do.
I love that digital take, because this week as well in the gaming news is Elden Ring, or I should say the production. Who's it? Is it Bandai
Namco and From
Bandai Namco sent swords to this one player called Let Me Solo Her. Have you heard about this?
I love this.
This is
I haven't heard
amazing.
this story.
So there's this guy who can be summoned who's called Let Me Solo Her, and it's like, is it
a real player?
A real player.
It's a real player
with a pot on his head, kind of like, imagine the reverse getting over it, right? Like, so the pot's on his head, he's got like this nappy on, and he's got dual katanas, and people can summon him to then fight. Is it Millennia? I don't know.
Melania.
which is apparently a very hard boss in Elden Ring.
One of the hardest bosses, and that's before she goes second phase.
Yeah. And apparently they summon this guy called Let Me Solo Her, and you'll never guess what he says. He says, "Let me solo her." And they just watch as he decimates this boss, and he's done it over like 1,000 times, nearly 2,000 times. So people found out about it, I should say, and they sent him these swords to go, "We love what you're doing." So chances are it's going to be like an NPC in the next type of game that they come out with. But yeah, I love this kind of online legacy that people can create where they're just known. They just become known in this whole circle. It's crazy.
This is really FromSoft in a nutshell, though. Like any FromSoft game has shit like this happen. So like there's like also another tradition if you're a FromSoft gamer, or Dark Souls and stuff like that. Yeah. Where very early on in the games, they'll always put like a spot where everyone has to go and kill themselves, right? And then it will just be like this one spot that is just covered in blood spots. And everyone's like, how the fuck are people dying here? Like if you're not in the know, right? But it's like you start a new playthrough, the very first rule you have to do is you go to that spot and you do it. And it's like Dark Souls 2 had one, Dark Souls 3 has one. And then in Elden Ring, when you first spawn in, you spawn next to a dead maiden, right? And like the whole concept of Elden Ring, if you guys don't know, is you're supposed to have a maiden with you, right? But she's been killed and you don't realize this is her. And it's like they tell the story through a very like kind of roundabout way. But so everyone goes up to this dead body of a maiden, and that's where they all kill themselves, all the community. Then so there's this giant blood spot in front of this maiden if you're playing with online, and you see the post go up on Reddit like once a week, being like, "Why is everyone dying here? What's going on? Is this a secret to activate that I don't know?" It's like, no, it's literally just people going up and killing themselves.
I watched my friend who he fed when he was first playing it, first booted it up, and I remember watching him walk up this like little tower, and there was all these messages. There was like all these blood stains, and all these messages were like, "Oh, secret thing, jump off to activate this thing." All these messages saying the same thing, and he's like, "This is weird." And he had an inclination it might be something like this, so he's just like, "I'm just gonna do it." He jumped, died, and he's like, "Yep."
Yeah, it's a big troll. It's great.
Yep.
That's what I love about it. But I just love those online legacies that people can create and they become known. As we talked about when World of Warcraft Classic came out, it was the first one who could reach level 60 or whatever it was. And they had like multiple streams, people taking shifts to do this one character so they can, level them up to level 60 the quickest for whatever reason. Kind of like with Call of Duty as well. Do you remember back in the day, whoever could like max prestige on multiplayer, the first was always the big winner. It was like called the race or something. I don't think they do it regularly now, but I do love these kind of in the know things, because if you're on the outside looking in, you wouldn't know about this online world or this history that people are creating, but it's so cool when it happens.
It's very.
I love it. I love it so much. I find that a lot of these games, a lot of these game communities that are like super like niche. This is super weird, right? But I feel like the bigger a game gets, the less of a community kind of you get. This is the same as streaming, the same as anything, right? But like you think about like Minecraft and how like massive and diverse it is, and how it's almost like the Minecraft community is like too big now. It's almost like an unwieldy wave that is like really dangerous to be around.
Yeah.
Like, and then you compare it to something like where it's like, a FromSoft Dark Souls community, right? Where it's a lot smaller, a lot more tight knit, but they have a lot of like built in like stuff that they're all really like, they understand and things like that. And I always wonder where the perfect balance is, like where the tipping point is. Like did Elden Ring get too big? You know what I mean? Yeah. Did Elden Ring's community get too big? And like, it's like, when you think about Elden Ring, I know that Dark Souls players had a lot of like gatekeeping and toxicity in the sense of like, you can't play Dark Souls like this and this and this and this, right? But it's less intense, and most of the Dark Souls community will look at those people and go, that person's a piece of shit. Don't listen to them. Play the game however you want. But I find that with Elden Ring, the amount of discourse around how to play the game is so much more intense than like any of the other Souls games that I've played and been a part of, right? Like, and I've only played DS2 and DS3, right? Okay. And I've not beaten them, not because I dislike them, but because I was doing them on streams or I was doing them in my part-time and I just got too busy, right? But I got really into DS3 and I was on their Reddit and I was reading up how to beat it and stuff like that. And there was never anyone like completely shitting on newbies for doing that stuff. And if they did, they got aggressively downvoted.
Right.
But it feels like with Elden Ring, it's like, hey guys, I'm doing this boss here. Here's my strategy. I'm using this summon. I'm doing this. And then like, it'll just be replied back. You're playing Arcane and you're using summons. That's not how you're supposed to play this game. And it's like, it's like, what is wrong with you people?
What happened? What happened between the previous game and this one? Is it because do you think?
I think Elden Ring got too. It got too.
So that
big,
was
right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, maybe, and so it attracted more toxic people, right? Like, which can happen. You know what I mean? Like, it's like TikTok. I was talking to Jack Buzzer, and he said that TikTok doesn't have a worse comment section. He said TikTok will just show your clips to far more people than other platforms. And when you have a huge, different, diverse amount of people seeing your clip, you're going to get a lot of different types of comments. It's not just all your YouTube comments where they're like, hey, we love your content. And then one guy being like, meh. It's like TikTok where it's like 50-50, they got it right. 50-50, they got it wrong. Yeah. Now you deal with the replies, right? And I thought that was super interesting. Like, okay, so if en masse something gets popular, you're probably going to get a more toxic community, sadly. Maybe they're the loud toxicity, but I don't know.
I think there's always the toxic communities in every game, which is a sad fact. Like, I know that what really drives me away from playing like a MOBA, like League of Legends or Dota 2, is I know that I'm going to get flamed. I know that as soon as I go online, even though I'm a beginner, never played the game before, never touched it, people are going to flame me for playing it incorrectly or wrong. The other day, I got into the Overwatch 2 beta. Like, I finally got the email saying, you can get in. It's like, sick. And so it's good. Like, well, you know, it's Overwatch reskinned. But basically, when I got in there, it was like you had role queue and you had open queue, which is a big thing that they did from the last beta. They just had role queue. So the wait lines were horrific. So now they've just done open queue so you can play any character you want. And to me, when I see open queue, that's like arcade mode. I just want to play the game. I just want to fuck around with whatever hero that there is. And I went into this thing where literally there's only 5 players on a team. And one of the people on there is that mother effing goddamn prick who goes into voice chat and goes, can one of the DPS please change so we can win the game? And I'm like, I couldn't. I'm one of those people that go, there's a line and you cross that line. So I went immediately on voice comms and was like, no, I think I'm just going to play how I want to play because it's open queue. And then he's starting into this shouting war with me. It's like, you're costing us the game. It's like, you can't even hit this headshot and stuff. And it's just this weird toxic mentality where we're in a beta. There is no stats. There is no SR. You're literally, nothing matters. You're just playing the game for whatever reason. But they have to win. Like, they go, do you find fun in losing? And I'm just, it boggles my mind. Like, it makes me so angry that I have to turn off voice comms at times. Like, I got to be that person who sits in the corner with their own little console, just not hearing anything, because I want to play it the way that I want to play it. And people don't understand it. And they feel that they have to tell you how you should be playing the game. And that's what turns me off.
Yeah. I think you're right, LJ. I think if something does, once it hits a certain size, you're just getting more types of people that are coming into that game and into that community, and a lot more vocal in that sense as well. And that's why you end up in all these situations. Because there's have you guys heard of or played Deep Rock Galactic?
No, I've heard of it.
I've seen a lot of it, but I never played it.
Yeah. So I remember watching. I've played the game. Really fun. And I've played. I did a stream of it as well, and I also watched Skill Up's review of it. And everything that he said in his review also lined up with when I streamed it as well. The community around that game is incredibly lovely. He said every single like random queue he went into, so like because it's co-op PvE, and every time he loaded up into a random queue with like complete randoms, and he was completely new to the game. Every single person was so willing to help him and help him learn and give him tips and this and that. He never ran into a single toxic person. And the same followed over when I streamed it as well. Even though I was much smaller, I still had people coming in who were genuinely like, they weren't, toxic in any way. They weren't like, wow, you suck, or using this, how dare you. It's like they were just people genuinely excited that there's, someone else was playing the game and they were wanting to help out and give tips. It was like I'd never encountered a single toxic person when I streamed
That's great.
it. So but it's also a much smaller game. It's a much smaller community, more niche. So I think it probably lines up with what you're saying, that it's just at some point there's a game will get to a certain size in its community where more types of people are coming out and just completely, just ruining the experience.
Yep.
I don't think it's necessarily like a terrible thing. It's great that games pick up and they're really big, but I do find it is a little bit hard sometimes. Like, you know, I don't know. I feel it's weird. But like also Fall Guys has picked the fuck up and no one's toxic in that, right? Like everyone loves it. Everyone's just like, woo, we're going to fall. We're the Fall Guys. You know, it's a bloody party.
It is.
So I don't know, man. I find it interesting.
Because there's no team games anymore.
Yeah, well, there still are, but when you do it, it's like, oh my God. The one that I find is a team game, which isn't a Seesaw. I hate that level. But I just realized I still have this up on my other window. Going back to the OnlyFans thing, I typed in who's the biggest OnlyFans earner, and you'll be surprised that this person has made $52 million on OnlyFans. It's somebody that you know, but you may not realize. It's the 19-year-old Danielle Bregoli. If you don't know who Danielle Bregoli is, I think you remember her from Dr. Phil, Cash Me Outside, How About That? Do you remember that?
No
$52 million. She's 19 years old, and that's how much she has made on the OnlyFans website just from that infamous moment on TV, however many years back. Crazy.
I mean, it's still like, dude, that is crazy. I did not expect that at all, to be honest. But I don't exactly spend a lot of time on OnlyFans, so I didn't expect it.
Bigger than Amaranth.
Yep.
Wow.
She's known as Bad Barbie. BHAD. Bad Barbie. I mean, well, there you go. But money is to be made on OnlyFans. And again, if I could do it, like if I could get those eyes on me and get $1.5 million a month, you know, we talked about gambling in the past. If somebody paid you $2 million to do it for a month or something, you got to think to yourself, I mean, I'm kind of set after that, aren't I? But what will I be seen as? What are my morals going into this? It's a tough one. But for me, it's like, I
don't think OnlyFans is like that though. Like, I don't think OnlyFans can be compared to like gambling stuff.
No. I think the perception of it, though.
Although people definitely try to. When we talked about Amaranth and when we talked about the gambling streams, there were a weird amount of comments from the stream room commenters, which I didn't expect, right?
Okay.
I expect this from SSN because we got a lot, again, bigger audience, more toxicity.
Yep.
But it was weird that a lot of people were saying in our comment section that they were like, have you never heard of porn addiction? And I was like,
All right.
I was like, yeah, we've heard of porn addiction.
Yeah.
But people
Where's
get
the porn?
free porn, right?
Yeah.
Like why are you attacking a bunch of women for making OnlyFans? Like, they're not going out of their way to like promote an affiliate link and like fucking say to you like, you know, do this and do that, and it's not going to lose $50,000 worth of life savings. And maybe, I don't know, like the full details of it, but it felt weird to compare someone's OnlyFans to train. Like, we were talking about Trainwreck at the time,
right?
But it felt weird and disingenuous that people decided to compare a few women's OnlyFans to someone with like 30, 50,000 viewers promoting a gambling website with their affiliate link.
Yep.
Because back then they were still using affiliate links and everything as well. So like, so that felt super strange to me. But each to their own. You know, you want to stand by your morals. You hate porn, go for it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna hate gambling
by all means. But yeah, speaking of sort of, you know, different content and different platforms, Instagram now offering streaming service directly from OBS and and Streamlabs and XSplit.
Can I straight throw it up? You think it's weird that like in the announcement they said Streamlabs first? Did you think that was weird?
Oh, I wasn't even looking at that. I was just more interested by the fact that
I think in their list on the announcement, I remember thinking to myself, that's interesting. Because let me double check.
Well, they say OBS, Streamlabs, etc.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, that's from Matt. Do you mean the official Instagram one?
I don't know. I think it was one of them. I saw one of them, and it was like a proper press release and stuff like that. And I was like, wow, okay, you said Streamlabs first. That's surprising. Hey, I know this is completely off railing.
Okay,
but I gotta say it, dude. OBS has somehow become like the bad guy to some people.
Oh, what happened?
So these days, okay, so a few weeks ago, there was another big stink on Twitter. Like, people brought up the Streamlabs stuff again, so that everyone knew about it, and it blew up. And then OBS replied. Like, so essentially, OBS's original tweet calling out Streamlabs went kind of half viral again because a bunch of people started retweeting it and talking about the topic again months later. But I don't think it's a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they shouldn't have. But then OBS is like replying back to people being like, just a heads up, we've actually smoothed everything over. We're happy now. Streamlabs is fine. You know, blah,
Doing
blah,
the right
blah, blah.
thing, right?
And they're doing that also. Let's not forget the fact the reason they signed and they're all happy with it is because Daddy Logitech paid them a big fuck ton of money. That's why if you go to OBS's partner page, there's a massive fucking Logitech logo. And if you don't know, Logitech owns Streamlabs. Anyway, but all these people are replying back to OBS being like, yeah, I really wish you guys stuck to your morals though. Real nice if you guys stuck to your morals though. Real nice if, you know, didn't just try and defend Streamlabs and actually like stuck to what you had going on. You know what I mean? Which is so weird. What? So weird. I don't know how to feel about it. It feels weird.
For me, it's kind of like, okay, so the problem they're having is they're saying you took a big bag to say nice things about Streamlabs. I'm guessing that's the kind of vibe that the
to no longer like push, you know, again, maybe like bring this stuff up. Like it was like, I feel like it was kind of like, we're going to change our name. You were open source. You don't actually have a legal argument, but we'll do the right thing and we'll give you a big bag of money under the Logitech name.
Yeah.
So the average Joe doesn't know that you're partnered with us.
That's fair enough. I guess the thing that I would say to the people on Twitter who are calling that out is like, definitely you can say that they sold out or whatever, or they got like an NDA to not talk about it or bring it up in the public eye. But as we said, it is open source. And how many people out there have actually donated to OBS of their own money? Or have they just taken it?
That's such a good shout.
Yeah.
That is such a good way of pointing it out.
It's kind of like, we just take it for granted because it's free. And you're like, this is great. Internet's free. Everything's free. But I know that I didn't donate to OBS. And I should, because it's my livelihood. I need this to operate everything. But if you got a big corporation going, you know, all those years that you've made and we don't have to do this, but here's some money for you. I would, again, as we said about, I would consider it. I'll be like, yeah. I mean, if it pays my way and I can continue doing it, then probably would just take it.
Also, I think a lot of people are overlooking the fact that if they wanted to, when Streamlabs first launched, they could have done a big, like, you know, hoorah about the naming. But it was Streamlabs OBS for so long before everything just kind of, you know, took off.
Yeah. To be fair, hold on, no. To be fair, OBS did reach out and specifically said, hey, can we do this? And OBS specifically said, please don't. And then they did. And OBS was like, well, we're just a little dev. We don't want to start drama.
Oh, sorry, I should have specified. Oh, I meant in the public eye. Sorry, I should have specified. Because they did reach out to them, you know, straight away, and they were like, haha, fuck you. It was weird. They didn't bring it up in the public eye, so no one knew until it started. You know, people were talking about it, and OBS was like, well, to, you know, not to spread misinformation. This is what happened. We asked them to change their name. They didn't. They just kind of flipped us off and continued on their day. And that's why, you know, and as we all know, that's how it all kicked off. So, but yeah, for people to sort of, you know, pull their morals into question, be like, wow, you accepted this big bag of money. It's like they had no legal standing. Like they couldn't force them to do anything. They were just asking them to not. And then they were like, well, crap, we don't want to be this bad guy. We'll change our name and we'll give some money to OBS, smooth things over. And you know, and that's about it. Because Streamlabs OBS were launched before. Was it before Logitech bought them, or was it after? It
was before. It was originally just an alert system that slowly was getting built out. I'm pretty sure.
That's
if my terrible history reminds me.
Right.
Okay, I got a hot take here.
Okay.
I don't think that anyone. I think that streaming and content creation, the way they deal with drama by going public all the time, is the dumbest shit ever. I don't understand it. I really don't understand the point of doing like public call outs, right? Like everyone has a business email. If you're upset with someone, you should touch base professionally first and try and sort it out and be on top of things. I don't think your audience and your brand and stuff like that and your followers need to see huge public drama and fallout unless it's like, hey, I'm trying to solve this really egregious thing and they won't do it. Just letting you know this is what's going on. I actually think it's so aggressively unprofessional the way people use brands and stuff like that, also use their large followings and things these days. They never try to do it privately, professionally first. Is that weird? I think it's fucked.
No, that is the professional way of doing it, and you're right. I think that people would argue the fact that they did try doing that, you know, in whatever circumstance, and because they didn't get the response that they wanted, they're now going to make it public so they can get more people on the bandwagon.
They're frustrated.
Sorry to clarify. I'm saying what OBS did was correct. Right, like that's what I'm saying. I'm saying the fact that OBS was like, hey, can you not? And they went and did it. And OBS was like, you know what? We're still the better product. We're just going to be the better product. We're going to push through and do the right thing. Yeah. I think that's like, fuck yeah, dude, you do that. And then I think, okay, this stuff came up. People are talking about it. OBS is going to clear it up. Hey, speaking of the industry, you guys see StreamElements had to fire like half their staff or something like that?
No, let me look this up.
Oh, goodness.
There was a massive StreamElements layoff. And it's because there's a massive downturn in the industry. 20%, it looks like StreamElements to lay off 20% of their employees in less than a year. Which people will be like, that 20% is not much. It's like 20% is a fucking big number when you're a small team, right? Like that's a decent amount. If you got 12 people, that's like 3 or 4 people in your team or whatever. Like
apparently they've got 170 people total working at StreamElements, which is 20% of that is a lot.
That's fucking 34 people. Yeah, like 34 people losing their jobs in an industry that doesn't exactly have a lot of like brands that you can shift into easily, right? Like,
did they publicly hint to any reason as to why? Or
I don't remember or recall, but like, let's be real, we're in a close to recession with aggressive inflation, and they're a platform that technically doesn't charge the average Joe, right?
Correct.
Like, I've never had to pay StreamElements anything, also we're also in an industry that not just dealing with recession, inflation, an industry where sadly there's a huge downturn right now of people just not spending money, like, because we're entertainment, and if you don't need it, you don't do it.
Yeah.
And there's a huge drop off in the amount of streamers coming in, which means less people using their platform. There's a huge drop off in the amount of new streamers, the amount of people quitting, the amount of people doing everything. You know what I mean? Like, and apparently most new people when they start go straight to Streamlabs. And Streamlabs has built-in alerts rather than having to go to a new software, which means that's probably even worse for them.
Okay.
and people, and they really entice people for their like Streamlabs Prime subscription as well. Like they've got
that's so shit, though.
yeah, they've got like my biggest issue with it is that they would release a feature for free and keep it free for ages, and then once it's been refined, they lock it behind the paywall.
So I get told this all the time. Do you have an example? Because I don't have any of these examples. I get told this, and I'm like, really? I use Streamlabs. I used Streamlabs for about a year and a bit, and I never needed to pay for any services.
Right.
So they used to have so at the moment, so currently you're only allowed a maximum of 5 items on your merch store, and you're very limited into what you can add item wise. It used to be you could have way more items. I think you have a maximum of like 25, and you had full access to everything that they supported. It used to be completely free, but then they locked the rest of that behind the Prime subscription. All of their premium like overlay and widgets and stuff like that, all like themed, like the themed ones, used to be completely free. Now it's completely locked. So that's like a lot of this stuff, just used to be free, and then they've just locked it away.
See, the way people say it though, right? Those are 2 examples, right? But the way people always push it and tell me about Streamlabs, like this is commenters and people I talk to, they always say it's like they're locking like features you need for streaming. But like,
it's not mandatory.
Like,
no.
This is so strange to me. Like on my video about OBS versus Streamlabs, one of the comments says like, why would I use Streamlabs when I have to pay to do basic features? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I understand people can dislike Streamlabs, go for it. But like, I used it for a year and a bit, and I never had to pay a single dollar. Like, if we're talking like basic features locked behind paywalls, the main one that Streamlabs fucked up has to be the bot, right? Like they made it so that the custom bot name, you have to have a Streamlabs Prime subscription. Like that's absolutely stupid when you can get them for free, right? But otherwise, like, I don't know, man. I feel like that's like such a strange like a thought that everyone has now, right? Like, I'm not saying you, Nick. I'm saying like everyone has this strange thought in their head that like Streamlabs is like you have to pay for everything. I'm like, you don't have to use their premium overlays and widgets. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to use their merch store. You don't have to use like anything really. Like, it's weird. It's a weird one for me. This whole thing has always confused me.
Yeah, you can use their merch store for free. It's just in a limited fashion. I think they do have a few like free overlays and widget themes that you can use, but like it's like less than a handful. But yeah, and there's I think people it's what it sounds like is people are hearing, oh, the stuff used to be free and they locked it behind the paywall, and immediately in their heads, because they've never actually used it, in their heads they're immediately like, oh, everything used to be free and now you have to pay for everything. It's like, It's like what you say. It's no, you can stream, get all your alerts, your chat bots, your basic widgets and stuff like that. You get all of that. It's fine. It's all of, it's just extra shit that they make you pay for.
Yeah, I'm totally gonna get called a fucking Streamlabs simp. But like, legitimately, like, I don't know. I just find that it's
misinformation.
I just find it's weird. It is very weird. I understand Streamlabs has issues. I get that, but at the same time, it just feels so strange to me how intense people are about this whole thing. But hey, should we talk about, speaking of two competing services, should we talk about the YouTube versus Twitch again? I know everyone's so tired of hearing about it. Our audiences have heard us go on about this. But Myth and Lily moved.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say. Interesting, boys. Again, I think it comes down to the fact of, yes, these big streamers moved. They got their bag, which I think is good on them. They don't have to rely on, people giving them money to, stay afloat, which is always a nice thing that we all are striving for, I think, as streamers. But honestly, it's not as big as a deal in terms of, I think we're at that point now where we know that even if you got rid of Ninja, who went over to Mixer or Shroud, the Twitch keeps on going, and there's people that can always fill those spots on the top of the recommended feed or the pages. So yeah, I'm kind of in two minds where I'm really happy for them. And it's nice to know that they've got guaranteed contracts, which is a very rare thing to have in this freelancer world that we live in.
Yeah, it really is. I never watched Myth because, I'm just not interested in Fortnite. But I was having a read through that Reddit thread that you linked, Reapz.
Yeah.
And from... Do you guys know much about sort of Myth and his viewership or what he was doing?
I've known various things about Myth,
I was reading.
But is there anything in particular that you're referencing?
Well, there was a lot of comments sort of echoing that like his viewership was just declining steadily over time, and he was just he just wanted to break away from Fortnite from the sounds of it as well, and now he's got this guaranteed paycheck from YouTube. He can try different things. And hopefully, maybe even build up a new audience through making different content. Which honestly, good on him.
Yeah,
he wants to break out of Fortnite. This is a guaranteed paycheck way of switching games or doing something completely different and not going to be losing his livelihood. So
yeah, while pursuing that, because I think we all, I know that I struggle. I know that if I do something a little unusual, like yesterday I did a stream that was literally with this background and I just made Legos, right? And I know that's not going to get the viewership that I would do playing, say, Fall Guys or something like that. But it's nice to know that I can go to that and hopefully people still react and still come out and interact and whatnot. But it's always scary because you're like, if I go outside what I'm known for, people are going to see it and go, oh, they're going this route now and I'm not interested in that. So unfollow, unsubscribe, everything like that. And for him to go, well, let's just get a fresh start. I don't want to do Fortnite. And the way for me to do that is going over to YouTube where I can do varying things. And as Nick says, get a guaranteed paycheck. I would definitely do that as well. So I hold no ill will. And I think there's this mentality where, because as you said, there's this streaming platforms war where, back in the day it used to be PlayStation versus Xbox and now it's Twitch versus freaking YouTube. And you're a traitor if you go to the other side. No, just no.
Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's no. I think it's interesting though. Like, one of the things that I want to take away from the whole myth moving thing is I think it really goes to show that you don't really need to have a fucking banging YouTube channel to move across.
Yeah.
Like this is the thing that I always learn about streamers. I always do this thing where I'll like get really interested in like a streamer and I'll go like do a bunch of research on them. And when I first found Myth, like, I only found him a month ago because I was watching Ludwig's Fortnite Mondays. Oh, sorry, no. Ludwig Mondays featuring Fortnite. And I was watching that and I was like, oh, Myth. Okay, I understand. I know I've seen Myth a few times before. I should check him out. I went and looked at him and I was like, holy fuck, dude. Most of my videos do better. Like he uploads videos of him playing games and gets like 10K views, 15K views, GTA RP gets 7K views. And I'm like, wow, that's not a dig at him at all. But then he plays like Fall Guys and got 236K in the last 12 days, right? And it's like, why would he keep doing, Valorant every single day when the reality is that he can get so many more views just by
doing something else.
Doing like collabs and doing stuff on YouTube. I think it's super, super, super interesting, honestly, to see how it all works and to see what he's doing. I also think it's amazing that like you can have such like a 3,000 viewer following and have like such a smaller YouTube channel in the grand scheme of things. And I was thinking about that, and I was like, well, it's clear that he grew from playing Fortnite and built all these YouTube channel from playing Fortnite and stuff like that. And then when he tried to transition his YouTube channel into other content, it didn't die, but like getting 20K views or 18K views or 5K views on a video on your upload, like he played with Hassan. He did this blood hunt video with Hassan and didn't even break 5,000 views on it in a month.
That's crazy. How many subscribers does he have on his YouTube?
4.5 million. He has more than Ludwig.
Wow.
That's yeah.
On YouTube, so you have 4.5 million subscribers, and he's
because he grew on Fortnite content, and then he couldn't transition. Well, he has, but like it was hard to transition into doing other stuff.
What
right?
was he
like
averaging on his Fortnite videos before he started transitioning?
Millions back in the day.
It depends, but like some of them were millions. You know,
Yeah.
he did pretty well when he switched over and was doing like Among Us with. Like he did Among Us with like Toast and all of those people. Like he was getting like 500K, 200K, stuff like that. I'm looking at it now. And then he started doing, some other things like some Valorant stuff and did pretty well. Rust, the giant Rust server did well for him. But then he really like landed on doing like a lot of Valorant, and things just kind of slowly deteriorated while he focused on stream, I guess. Because like if you look at his Social Blade as well, he only gets like 15,000 views a day. Like I get on Stream Scheme between 12 and 20,000 views a day.
Right.
On a non-upload day.
Yeah.
Like that's...
Yeah.
It just shows that that's a moment in time when Fortnite was everything. You could not go onto YouTube without seeing 50 billion Fortnite thumbnails everywhere. Like it literally took over the world. But when you do see Myth, he's a really charismatic guy. Like he's funny,
fantastic.
he's great. You know, he's just, I think he's a real talent that can definitely be seen outside of the Fortnite realm. But the problem is, as you said, he's been shoehorned into, he's the Fortnite guy. He was previously known as TSM Myth, which, as you know, TSM is basically esports, and they specialize in Fortnite. And then he was like, no, I don't want to be a part of TSM. So he did a big announcement about leaving TSM. I think, showing his kind of idea of I'm going away from Fortnite, and I could definitely see a decline going on in there. So it's good to know, though, that you don't have to be stuck in the Fortnite realm to get these offers from other platforms and go, whoa, okay, I'll take that. I'll do that for sure.
Well, it's pretty obvious, and we've known for months now, it's pretty obvious that the entire offline TV gang, like Myth's not a part of it, but he's very close to it.
Yeah.
It's been very obvious that as their contracts come up, they're all moving over.
Yeah.
Like it was clear from the start, because they said things like, people were saying things like, oh, they need to buy an entire group. They need to buy an entire group. And if you go through the groups on Twitch, they're not going to buy the Minecraft group. They're not going to buy OTK because they're a brand risk. They're not going to buy the other groups that are on here, right? Because they're too large or they don't have the following and stuff. Offline TV is like the perfect buyable group. They have an aggressive cult following. Like people follow Saikuno, Valky, people will follow Lily, people will follow like people anywhere, right? Like they don't do like a lot of React content or copyrighted content, so they're pretty safe there. They do a lot of like very family friendly branding, you know what I mean? And like, I don't mean like they don't swear. I just mean like one of the funniest things to come out of the Among Us era was them saying babushka, which no offense, like that's hilarious if I'm 14. But like I'm not their key demographic, right?
Yeah.
But like it's perfect to buy them, right? Offline TV is like such a good move to get them over. But they need, people keep forgetting is they need thousands of these streamers. They need thousands and thousands, and it'll be a lot cheaper. Rather than buying them and giving them millions every time, be a lot fucking cheaper if you just made your platform better and people moved naturally because they wanted to.
Yeah. Again, it's that thing of trying to find live streams. I tried to do it the other day. This is what we talked about for months since the beginning of Stream Room podcast. It's like, how do you find an online stream? I'm subscribed to Ludwig. He's on my recommended homepage when it comes to the videos that he posts. Sometimes he's live and I go onto my YouTube homepage and it doesn't say Ludwig is live. It does sometimes, but other times I don't even know. And then it's like, oh, I missed it. And then you've got to go to Ludwig VODs and all this kind of stuff. It's just so hard to find that live streaming content on YouTube, and it boggles my mind. Sorry.
Yeah, Mr. Beast leaked. I don't know if it's a leak or not. I've never heard this before, but Mr. Beast explained how a YouTube live stream gets recommended. And I think this is one of the dumbest fucking things I've ever heard.
Okay.
A YouTube live stream gets recommended based on how long people are watching it. So a retention rate. And you're like, but LJ, that's how YouTube works. You miss half the fucking stream before it gets to the algo.
Yeah.
Because if someone's streaming for 5 hours, the first 2 hours won't get recommended because they're like, well, the watch time's really iffy. And then after 5 hours, half the audience has watched for 5 hours, which means finally it's like, wow, look at all this 5 hours of watch time. We're recommended. And finally it appears, I click it, and then Ludwig goes offline in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Like that's literally every, I feel like every Ludwig stream at this point is like, I get there and he's already finished the big hype thing because that's when it appeared on my homepage.
Yeah.
Right? I watch YouTube all day while I work and I don't see him until he's like been live for like 2.5 hours. And because he doesn't have a consistent always start time, I don't fucking know when he's coming back and when he's going, Cotton Eye Joe. Like, I don't know. So it frustrates me to no end. It's like, and I've got notifications on for Ludwig and I don't get notified that he goes live.
Yeah. It's nutty.
It just doesn't even pop up at all.
I don't get a ping. I don't get a ping, right? Like it's like so strange to me. And like I have a channel. I've got a private account that no one knows about that I use to watch my watch videos on, right? And like it's subscribed to like Ludwig and like 2 others, and all I watch on it is like Ludwig, Connor Dog, and Chris Abroad, right? I watch a lot of other things, but like those are the ones that I'm on during the day and stuff like that because I don't want to fuck my algorithm up too much. And then I go to the LJ channel and that's when I fuck my algo.
Yeah, he just wants to hide the fact that every month he watches the top 20 on OnlyFans creators for the month.
You got
of
me.
X. Yeah.
I'm like, am I in it yet? Am I in it yet?
Yeah.
Cutie Chan.
But
yeah.
Me and Cutie Chan having a date. But like, I don't understand. How can I sit there and check the homepage every 15 minutes when I watch a video and not get a ping or a notification when this guy who's going live when all I watch is Ludwig and 2 others on this account? Like it boggles my mind. Like
They can schedule live streams like the way they do like premieres, right? So you can see like it'll pop into their video tab and you'll see like the thumbnail there of it's like scheduled. Like that's how they do it, right? Or
sort of, yeah. Like because you have to. That's another thing that's painful as fuck. Because you have to make a thumbnail and title and like schedule the stream. You can't just go live. You have to have a thumbnail ready to go and a title. And something Ludwig always talks about is he always says that he hates it because if he does a 6-hour stream, he's not going to do the same thing for the entire 6 hours.
Yeah.
Does that mean he needs to make 3 different thumbnails and change it throughout the thing? Like, oh my God. If I had to make thumbnails for going live, I would be doomed, right? I would just be so doomed.
well, I know that's why a lot of people they just use that. They just have one thumbnail. Like there's just one live thumbnail that they keep as their thing. And I'm like,
Yeah, but that's come on. The problem, right, is that's not for someone like Ludwig. He has ground the fucking algorithm, right? Like he is aggressively optimizing. He wants to crush the game, right? He wants to be the biggest of the big on his platform. He's not going to use the same one. The people who use the same one are the people who are like, I'm comfy with my viewership. I'm happy to sit here and do whatever.
oh yeah.
No, like that's like the difference, right? Like I was talking to my wife the other day and I said, I know why I'm at the size I am and I'm not bigger. And I was like, it's because I know for a fact that my work ethic is probably like 10 times better than like someone who's sitting at 10 viewers and never going to grow, right? But I also know for a fact that someone like Connor Dog or someone like Ludwig or any of those guys, their work ethic is 100 times better than what I do, right? Like I'm totally okay with admitting that. I know how hard I work, right? And I that's the thing about the thumbnails is if you really are going to fucking push it, yeah, they're going to force you to do multiple, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but like it's just like I don't understand why people do it.
Yeah, I'm saying for that reason why a lot of people just end up using the one same thumbnail like all the time. Because like that's their live stream indicator thumbnail. But no, I know what you mean. Like you know, thumbnails are the thing on YouTube to engage everybody. So you have to stay competitive and stay at the top. You have to make custom ones all the time, and that would just be horrible. Especially like you're saying to make 3 different ones. Like, oof.
Well, you're not gonna make 3, right?
Yeah.
Like you just got to do your best, right? Like so, like Ludwig's live stream thumbnails are always really low quality, right? Like he slaps them together in a couple minutes, and it's like it does the job to say that he's live. But I still like, I don't know, man. Like what do you do? Do you hire someone? Hey, man, here's my stream schedule, and here's what I'm gonna be doing. Can you make me thumbnails for the week?
Yeah.
Do you make like 10 thumbnails and only stream the same shit for 10 different things over and over and over again? Like. Or do you just, as YouTube, let people have an auto generator, right? Like just let people have an auto generator or put the live button somewhere that's easier so we find it. Again, this all just comes back to me saying that essentially I feel like YouTube's fantastic But I don't feel like you can just keep buying streamers. You just need to make your platform better, and people will move naturally if you make your platform better.
You're right. If you give people resources, they'll go over because of that reason, not because of, obviously, that's where the other big streamers are. I completely agree. And it is hard. As we said, it's hard to find it. Twitch is still basically the mecca for live streaming, and there's always going to be differentiations between what you find on Twitch to be great and bad and what you find on YouTube to be great and bad. And hopefully there will be a time when the good more outweigh the bad when it comes to YouTube live streams. But at the moment, we talked about the fact that Ludwig did his big Mogul Money live and only peaked at 100,000. While Cutie's 300,000, you know what I mean? And it's like, maybe because people couldn't find it or didn't know that it was on, that, you know,
that's
like
100% what it is. 100%. Like even Ludwig said that's what it was. Like he said if he was on Twitch, he reckons that Mogul Money Live would have been like 400,000 viewers, right? Because like think about the names that were on that.
Huge.
Like XQC can get like 120,000 viewers just chilling. Like XQC was on Mogul Money Live.
Mizkif, Hassan, Valky, like crazy.
It would be easily broken, right? Easily it would have been broken over like the 100 mark. He peaked at 100, right?
He peaked,
Isn't that just so interesting that like XQC sitting there farting, like literally he has a stream like where he just farted into his microphone and then played GTA RP for thing, and he got 130 average or something like that on it, or some crazy number. I'll have to double check it.
I need to study this, man.
Well, I guess it opens up an interesting thing where it's like, the only other sort of big platforms to integrate sort of live functionality, we've obviously spoken about, there's obviously Facebook. Everyone knows about, the Facebook Live and that kind of thing. But, then TikTok started to introduce it a little bit in weird ways. But how do you think it's going to go with Instagram, fully supporting, desktop streaming out of the gate? Do you think there are going to be some people that might switch because obviously, people that might have, like really big Instagram followings and they want to, continue capitalizing on that compared to, Twitch or YouTube?
I think there's two things, as you said, Mitch. If you've got a huge following on Instagram, it's a no-brainer to go, I'm going to live stream on that and obviously get that engagement that I already have with my following of posts and things. And then there's obviously the people who are new to streaming who are like, well, I'm not going to make a dent in Twitch or YouTube. I may as well try this new platform on Instagram and see how it goes. I think those are the two main components of people going over to Instagram. And maybe, some in the middle, but yeah, I'm not sure outside of that why you would go to Instagram, as it's still, because it's so new, people are like, why would I watch it on Instagram when I know these other places and what they have or what they have to offer me?
Yeah. I look at Instagram and I look at all these new platforms popping up like TikTok and stuff like that. And I really wonder whether or not we're moving towards a system where we have different live streaming platforms for different demographics of content. Is Instagram just going to be like, fashion, makeup, clothing, photography, like all those kind of like that kind of like style of things, and then maybe Twitch is going to end up being like, the gaming, the pop culture, the stuff like that, and then YouTube's going to end up being the just chatting, the big fun collabs with OTV and like all those kinds of things. And then maybe TikTok just ends up being the scum of the earth, fucking Mr. Beast. I'm saying Mr. Beast.
Give him a rose.
The most, the bottom of the barrel and then the high of the barrel.
Yeah. And then D Live is going to be your premier Bitcoin platform.
Oh, yeah.
From last week's podcast. I think, like, is that where we're going? Or, a lot of, I also think that, like, I don't know. There are billions of hours of watch time happening every single month on YouTube. And if they just made it a little bit better, I think it would be fucking billions of hours of live. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
LJ, I've got a question. In the Instagram announcement, did they mention anything about the viewing experience for these Instagram live streams?
I'll be honest, I didn't dig too deep. I saw they announced it. I shared it to you guys. I saw kind of like what they were doing. And I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, you do you, man. I don't care about this. This isn't like Instagram's not going to be for gaming. You know what I mean? A lot of people try and, maybe reels are good and stuff like that. But I don't think that necessarily Instagram is where you go for premiere gaming clips and,
You're right. I think there will be niches when it comes to each of the platforms. I think that's a very smart take that you can see. People go there mainly for fashion or, look at this beautiful location where I go on holiday because I'm an influencer and people want to see behind the scenes of that. So I think you're right. I think it's more like a progression aspect on Instagram than it is creating your own brand on Instagram. it's you've got to be established is what I think they're going for.
Yeah. Fun fact. The Instagram, so in that tweet you linked, and he's like, more info, click that link. The link is a 404.
It doesn't work.
So it's just broken. So he's like, and so people are commenting like, hey, link's broken. And he's like, hey, Instagram, like, did you just pull your own announcement post? Like,
they did. Yeah. No one really knows why, but they just completely removed it. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. This is live as it happens. We're crossing to the field. LJ, Nick, what can you tell us about this? Huge.
There's no new information.
Okay. And back to you. Back to
Absolutely nothing.
on with the weather.
Everything's screwed. It's broken. Back to you, Ribs.
Thank you, guys. We're going to cut to commercials. We'll be right back after this message. Subscribe to our YouTube. Now we're back. Yeah. Far out.
Man.
But
no, they cut it. They just got rid of it.
Yep.
man, that's a shame. I wanted to know more. Damn.
Well, we know that live streaming's here to stay, and we know that it's now become a part of the funnel in terms of how people are viewed, how they want to get themselves out there. But I do think, as we said many times, it's an added. It shouldn't be your base. It should always be an additive experience for your brand. Live streaming, that is. Because as you know, it's very hard to grow. You've got to do it for long hours. And again, you can't really build up that recognition when it comes to the only time that people see you is when you're live. While evergreen content like posts on Instagram, interesting to note, obviously, is that we know that Facebook or Meta, whatever they want to be known as, owns Instagram. And we know that Facebook has Facebook Gaming. So are they trying
It's weird, right?
Yeah. Are they trying to be like, maybe you can go on Facebook Gaming and also be shown on your Instagram account. So we've got that added for you if you want to go there. Or is it like, no, this is a different brand under our umbrella and we want to make sure that they're different experiences?
Most likely. That's what I think.
That's why I asked about the niches, but yeah.
I think it's like, it's probably going to be a niche. Like certain people trying to hit certain demographics are going to be, is where they're going to go. I think the key to sort of the Instagram, I can see the like Instagram live streaming doing really well as long as the view experience is good. Like I could see if they added like another tab on the app and also on the website, if you're viewing from your desktop, if there was a live tab, then you go into that live tab and they'll have like, you know, a discover. So like just any live streams that are live at the time and you can search, and then a separate tab for Instagram accounts you're following that are live. I think if they were to literally do that as from like a basic point of view, I think it'll do well. So you know, like, okay, so this live thing's launched. I'm gonna go to the live tab. I'm gonna go to people that I'm following and then see who's live from people that I'm following. So
I got a feeling that Instagram is going to end up being the platform that is kind of mostly used for IRL, right? Like they use their phone. Like I understand they've probably added desktop so that people who do use their phone can then go and use a desktop one as well. But I think like 90% of the live streaming that is going to happen across Instagram is going to be, I've got my phone, I've got my app, I'm doing this IRL stream and you're coming along for it, right? Or much shorter. They're not going to do like 3-hour streams. No. Much shorter, snappy.
20
hey
minutes.
guys, doing a little 30, 20-minute stream here, showing you this stuff, doing this, right? But I can totally understand some of the power behind it because a big thing on Instagram from some of the places that I'm a part of and stuff like that are try-on hauls where like you'll like go shopping and you'll buy a bunch of stuff and you'll come back and you'll show off you wearing all the different outfits that you bought and stuff like that. And it's really cool, to be honest, because I use it to try get ideas for like if I'm like trying to like find new clothes or a style and stuff like that, because I have no fashion sense, you know what I mean? Like I used to go to one of the tricks that I learned early on was if you go to the store and you see something on a mannequin that looks good, you just say, give me that outfit, right? Because the mannequins are made by actual people who know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I think Instagram, one of the cool things they could do is, hey, you're going to come with me on the live stream as I do all the buying, right? Then I get home and I switch the desktop version on and I switch over and now I'm doing the try on haul and you guys can see it on full beautiful desktop. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I think there's a lot of stuff like that's like, I understand why they've added the desktop app because I think that adds integration to it. But at the same time, I do think majority of it's going to be, I'm on my phone. Hey guys, how you doing? It's back again with another try on buying stuff in the mall. But also I know there's a lot of artists on Instagram. And so like desktop apps, for example, could be, you guys follow me because you love my art that I create. I'm going to do a desktop live stream of me actually making some of it and you can watch now. And I don't have to go to Twitch and then do an announcement post and do all this stuff and try to connect the two. And
yeah, I think you're completely right. That's going to be two of the big pillars is like fashion creators and artists. That was the two, probably the two going to be massive ones as well.
You know that
it's
the
gonna
big...
be-
Oh, sorry. Continue.
I was going to say it's going to be interesting because I know that a lot of OnlyFans creators use Instagram as their sort of like marketing, basically, to reach new audiences and gain new subscribers for their OnlyFans. So it's going to be interesting to see how that develops. Like, what will the OnlyFans creators live stream, for example? So that's going to be interesting too.
With the engagements as well, I think mainly people, when you see those influencers on Instagram and TikTok and stuff, when they always go live, it's always, the main thing is a Q&A. It's always like, let's do a Q&A session. You can learn more about me. And
it's so easy to do. That's why.
Exactly. And they get the views for it. They don't want to do like a big thing where they got to do a big production. It's literally just their face. That's the moneymaker. And you can ask me questions so you can feel that kind of, affinity with me or my brand or whatever it is. I'm a real person, guys. I'm just like you. I'm not just in these beautiful locations. I'm just going to talk about it. And I think that's going to be the power of it more so than anything. It's really going to be like, here's a behind the scenes rather than here's me doing an event when it comes to that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree as well. It's kind of like, do you guys know Periscope? Periscope
Yeah.
used to be this app.
Back in the day. Yeah.
I think Instagram is kind of going to be similar to Periscope, to be honest. Kind of like this idea of like, oh, blah, 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 blah. Hey guys, I'm here. I'm going to hop off now, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and, do a little thing. It's funny you mentioned Q&As being super fucking easy, right? Because I relapsed into being really sick again. So like, you guys know the story if you listen, but essentially I've been sick for the last like 4 weeks. I got sick on a plane to my honeymoon and I still am sick, right? My cough is still there, but I've just been fucking sculling water every time I feel like I'm going to cough today.
Yeah.
But essentially I came home and despite still being sick, I did 2 weeks worth of 5.5 hour streams the entire time. And then last week I did my Tuesday stream. And then I had to end early on Tuesday because I just felt like absolute shit. Like halfway through the stream, I got this pounding headache and I felt like someone had beaten the shit out of me, right? I felt beaten and bruised. And I was like, I'm really sorry, guys. I got to end. I don't have time to do customs today. I got to end. I'm dying. And then I come back the next day and I was so dead that I was like, I'm just going to do a Q&A.
Yep.
I'm just going to do a Q&A. And we just did a Q&A for like 3-4 hours and chatted to the community. It was great. It's one of my best averages in a long time because I say this all the time, but it really is at the end of the day. I feel like I am just a chatting streamer who wants to play games.
But you know your niche, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people don't know what I shouldn't say what they're good at, but what people view them for. It's always, that's the hardest thing when you start streaming is, what do people want to watch me for?
Yeah.
Well, like I noticed that like when I first came back this year after my Christmas break, I noticed that if I did like just chatting for 2 hours, no matter what I did, if I did just chatting for 2 hours, I could usually get to like 120, 130 average.
Awesome.
Right? And then I would shift to a game and I drop down to like 110 or 100 and then slowly build back up. But then I started getting into the games quicker because with the drop in viewership that came because of the industry shifts and stuff like that and being sick and the internet, I noticed that it was a little bit slower. So I would do just chatting for an hour, then get into the game. But it hurt my average. So I did a test the other week where I did just chatting for 2 hours and back into the game. And my average was way higher. And it's just like, it's so interesting to me to think about the fact that like talking for 2 hours to my audience about random shit and stuff like that, people were like, most people would say, even if like it's terrible, most people would say that's a terrible concept and that it's bad for your average viewers because it's boring or it's this or you're not doing actual content, you're just talking. It's so weird that I'm just sat there talking for 2 hours and it makes my stream way better. Also, the Q&A I did on Wednesday, it's my highest sub count. And I didn't even have I didn't have an event. I didn't ask for subs. It was anything like that. It was just, I was just talking and doing a Q&A and we hung out for a couple hours and people were just like throwing like 1,000 bits here and there and this and that. And I was
awesome.
I was like, it just blows my mind that like I could do like a massive fucking like hardcore planned out event, right? Where I do X game and I have punishments and all this stuff like that. Or I can just talk for 4 hours and hang out and just be myself.
I mean, those types of streams are like the good community building streams as well. And that it builds, your sort of connection as the streamer to your audience as well. So I can see why that does so well. But then, on the flip side, like that won't, that's the interesting thing we always talk about is, for some other people it would be the complete opposite, where they'll have a higher average the quicker that they get into the game and they start doing that because people like to watch them playing a certain game, or they like the content that starts to happen once the creator starts to play, which I think from what I look at is kind of where I kind of sit in, where it's like we always start the stream, we talk for a little bit, you know, get the stream warmed up, and then we just, you know, we get jumped in and we start going. And I always found that works better for me. So it's just really interesting seeing all the different contrasts.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I
I think with you, Reapsy, you do what, like 45 minutes to an hour of like
Just chatting
or,
and then the game.
and then you do like an event or a game, like a content piece or a game. And you've been doing like Fall Guys every day. You must be a fucking pro now, right?
I was saying this on stream because if you've ever been to my streams in the past, I don't have like a laid out game plan, you know? Like I'll be like, I'm playing horror one day, I'm playing Nintendo the other day. And
The only consistent thing on Reap's stream is that at the end of every stream, he takes his shirt off for you.
and my
real
OnlyFans
hot.
is available in the link below. But yes, it is definitely that fact of like, I do the same thing. I do different things each day, but it's the same kind of strategy. But with Fall Guys coming out, I'm having a lot of fun with it because it's such easy content to make. And I have time to talk to the chat when I get eliminated or, you know, it's in between rounds or something like that. I see what
90% of the
people...
time
Spectating a lot of the time. I mean, that's because I throw for content. But you know, it's kind of like what I feel from the BR guys. You know, they do BR, they're in squads, and then they die or they lose or whatever, and then it's like finding another lobby, and that's their downtime to talk to chat. So it's this great back and forth of like, there's a game happening, but I'm also doing the usual just chatting thing. So it's like this nice melding of the two. Well, when you're playing like a horror game, you got to be all in because there's no breaks unless you press the pause button. It ruins the immersion or whatever it is. So yeah, it's nice to wake up and go, I'm playing Fall Guys today. I don't have to worry about what I'm playing at. So yeah, it's really nice. I enjoy it.
I laughed so hard when I got banned in your chat last week.
Who banned you?
I don't. Well, you
Probably
asked.
Ruzi or Evie.
Well, no. Well, it's one of the two. No, because I got you. I got under your skin with my comment. Do you remember?
There was many times that people get under my skin and I go, get them the
every time I talk.
Yeah,
Literally
These
every
nuts
time
is
I
now
talk.
thing but they're so bad. Like not you.
Oh, they
people
are.
are trying to do D's nuts jokes to me and they don't even make sense.
yeah.
They're like, have you
don't.
heard of the Rancor? And I'm like, Rancor? And they're like, how about you Rancor these nuts in your mouth? And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't even.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to throw it out there. You're complaining, but I would rather that than what I have now.
Okay, shoot. What's yours?
The same fucking 20 basic D's nuts that everyone has heard before all stream. I've had to instigate a rule saying that if you try and D's nuts me and I've heard it before, you get timed out for 15 minutes. Because it's the same ones. It's the same ones. Someone will be like, I'm going to get him on this one. Hey, LJ, have you heard of Sugon? And I'm like, hey, how about you sug on my balls? Time them out 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Hey, LJ, have you ever had Wendy's as an Australian? How about Wendy's nuts fit in your mouth? Time them out 15 minutes. And it's like, I literally will be like, I'll be like, guys, I'm going to say it right now. I've heard every single D's nuts joke on the planet. You will not get me with a D's nuts joke. And if you try to get me, and I've heard it before, you will get timed out. And then right after, someone will be like, have you heard of how the creator got Ligma? I'm like, how about you lig my balls?
Yeah.
I'm like, and then I have to be like, guys, I just warned you that I've heard all of these, and you try to use the most basic one, and they're like, the 12-year-old is like, I'm sorry, I didn't know you heard Ligma.
You put the red flag up and they're like a bull because they always go, have you heard of Imagine Dragons? Imagine Dragons, these nuts on your face. And you're like, God damn it, dude.
Because they think that you know, they're like, oh no, mine's new, mine's creative and unique.
Yeah.
You've definitely not heard this one. They have.
Yeah.
Like, it's like most of them also, I don't think they realize a lot of them learned the ones they're trying to use on me because I used it on them, right? Like I literally had a stream where I was like, hey, did you guys know there's no countries in South Africa or in Africa on the African continent that starts with K? And everyone's like, Kenya. And I'm like, Kenya, suck my dick. Right? Like, and then like 2 days later, there's a bunch of people who are like, hey, LJ, did you know that there's nothing on the continent of Africa that starts with K? And I'm like, are you guys fucking kidding me? I did this to you. I did this to you. You were here. I got you with this 2 days ago. And they're like,
I think you got me with that one.
yeah, I did.
Yeah.
But then they're like, it's like you call them out for it, and then they go, "But can you suck this nuts?" I'm like, what is wrong with you?
You just called them out. Oh my god!
It's like I've heard them all. I've literally heard them all. There are only 3 people in my chat who have ever actually got me. And I just like, it's like, congratulations that you got me.
Yeah.
Some days I regret the D's nuts jokes that I brought into my community. Other days I don't. Most of the time I just think it's funny.
Yeah.
But I do find sometimes the intense repetition of a bunch of like teenagers who don't realize that I'm fucking 27 years old and have been on this earth 3 times their age, and like
I'm
know
so
exactly
hyper aware of these jokes now because me and my friend Sly, we go back and forth with each other because we're trying to get each other. So we're constantly hitting ones at each other, and we're just seeing through them completely. So we're like just constantly on edge all the time. Like, is this like random? Okay, you're talking about something slightly random. Is this a D's nuts joke? What's going on?
I was going to say,
literally one of my go-to lines now. People have said that I say it every stream multiple times. Someone new will join or someone will say something and I'll be like, this feels like a D's nuts joke, but go ahead. And they'll be like, it's not. I'm honestly asking you whether or not you're really into heavy metal. And I'm like, my cock's made of heavy metal. What are you going to do to me here? I'm like, what are you doing? And they're like, I'm sorry, I'll stop. And I'm like, no, what are you doing? Like, what are you coming for me?
Speaking of paranoia, do you do this, boys? Because I am so hyper aware of it, and I've been doing it for the past 1.5 years, 2 years or whatever. Whenever somebody follows the channel, you look at the name and go, are they trying to make me say something that I'm not supposed to say? You know what I mean? Like I swallow and blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
I'm fine with it a lot of the time. I'll lean into it because I'm quite quick at being like, oh, that's someone saying genitalia. And I'll be like, hey, thanks, genitalia. Love your name, right? Like I lean into it.
Sometimes it's really funny. Yeah.
Dude, I used to know this streamer back when I was like 30, 40 average viewer, right? And I like to look at people's top clips and get an idea of what their community thought was hilarious. And one of her top clips is her saying the N-word as a thank you to a follower. And I was like, hey, are you aware this is one of your top clips? And she looked at it and goes, what's wrong with it? And I said, take a second. And she goes, oh! And I was like, yeah, well, let's delete that. Let's delete that there. You know what I mean? And she didn't have alerts on at the time. So it's just, thanks, N-word. And I was like,
dude.
And it's just like, there's so many traps like that for streamers. Like we talked about this maybe last week or the week before about people trying to trap you and how I was like, I banned him because a small streamer tried to pull it on me. And I was like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, get the hell out of here. But should we? Oh, sorry.
I was just to say the comment that you remember, LJ, you probably find this funny. I said to Reapz because he was spectating in Fall Guys as he does a lot, and I said I was like because he just got knocked out and I was like, oh, so does it take does it take 2 takes in Fall Guys to win a crown just like you do in the stream room?
Yeah. Get just ban that, man.
Immediately,
it is libelous.
Did not hesitate.
It is besmirchment. It is not my character, and I will see you in court. All right, dear sir? I will see you in court. What you've done to me.
One of my favorite things to do to you, Reapz.
Oh God,
is to do a really, really obvious bad D's nuts or say something and stuff like that. Have you catch it or like reply and then say in chat, no, guys, press 1 if I was right or press 1 if I got him. And then have half of your chat pressing 1. And it's like, in no way did it work or no way was it funny or anything like that. But his chat just gangs up on him and I'm like,
of course, I need to go. I need to do the same to you boys.
One time you were using the loo, right?
Yeah.
And I said, hey, press 1 if you guys think that Reap should shave his head. Or I said something, I don't know what it was. And you had your on-screen chat still on screen.
Yeah.
And literally, I thought it was so funny because you see my message pop up and then you just see your on-screen chat just go 1.
I just remember coming back to it going, what's this spam going on? I had to like scroll back up to find out where the genesis started. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Why is everyone saying 1? What are you trying to do?
What the hell? I thought they were timing me for how long it took me to go to the bathroom. I said, I'll be a minute. And they'll be like, 1 minute. But yeah, it is the thing. But I like that. I think it's good. Like when other communities come in and they know it's a joke and like the timeouts are just jokes and things like that. But some people are like, why did you time that person out? Like they didn't do anything wrong. It's like, it's a joke. They'll be unbanned in a sec. It's just a joke. But we probably should, because we do have limited time. Should we be going on to Q&As?
We don't actually have any. We don't have, because last episode only went out yesterday.
Oh, that's right. And we were waiting for yes.
So we actually don't have any Q&A questions right now, other than the second half of Kigu from last week. So we've only got one technically, which
Okay,
is
great.
on parasocial relationships.
Okay.
Having a Discord community hangouts while keeping the line between streamer and viewer. What steps or precautions do you take to decrease parasocial relationships? As you have grown, have you noticed the amount of parasocial relationships decreasing? It would be awesome to have a woman guest on as well. Again, we've only had women guests. Check out our other episodes. I feel like with this, it has to be an event. You can't have like a one-on-one gaming in your Discord, right? Like, if you're going to do it, you should have it as like an event. Like, hey guys, it's community night in the Discord. There'll be like 5 or 6 of us there. And we'll be doing our thing.
Yeah.
And to answer your question, when I was really small, there were more people for me who wanted to be parasocial. Then there was a gap where there was absolutely 0 parasocial attempts between like 60 and 100. But now it's way more like rampant because the turnover rate in my community is quite high. So I get a lot of new regulars coming in. And so an issue I have is people will come in from Scheme and then try and like add me and become friends with me in chat, or sometimes even like try and buy my like friendship with like, they'll do 5 gift subs and then like the message will be like, you want to play a game sometime? And so it's like this weird thing that happens to me. But like, so a lot of parasocial stuff or people wanting to be friends and stuff when I was really small. Pretty okay when I was in that medium size. And then now I get a lot of weird DMs and a lot of like people really wanting to be my friend.
Right.
And I've already got 3 friends, so I don't need any more.
Don't need it anymore. Yeah, it's a weird thing to kind of teeter. You really have to set, like when in the parasocial episode, like we talked about a lot of this. Like you have to set your boundaries from the get-go. And I think a lot of people don't think about that. They just don't end up setting those boundaries to begin with. And so a period of time goes through where you're kind of unbeknowingly, you're talking to people in DMs, you're getting to know people, and then you get to a point where you're like, oh crap, yeah, like this is not what it should be. You just be honest with people. Just be completely honest. Like I know a friend of mine who he streams Pokemon, and we wanted to chat in DMs. And I was like, oh, like, do you mind if I just send you like a friend request in Discord, a message? He's like, yeah, cool. And then he's like, guy, everyone in chat, don't send me friend requests. Like, I'm only, Nick's, we're just, connecting on Discord. So this is not an invitation. And then someone literally had sent him tried to DM him, and he's like, hey, I just asked you to not do that. So you just be honest and set the boundaries for how far you want to go, basically.
Yeah.
Open DMs, you
gross.
I have since like day dot had aggressively locked off DMs on every single platform, and only recently did I slightly open my DMs up because I was doing more collabs and networks and stuff like that, and people need to be able to friend request. Like I need, like for example, Micro Mads. This is actually why I opened it up. Mads tried to send me a friend request and she couldn't, and in my chat she wrote, I think she said the words, I'm a literal e-girl and it's easier to add me as a friend than it is to you, LJ.
That's why
I was like,
love
man,
Mads. Yeah.
I was like, man, I'm fucking locked down. All right. Like you can't get near me. You can't touch this.
I think you're right. When it comes to parasocial, everyone's going to have their different definition of what the line is. And as long as you know what you feel comfortable giving people in terms of information, that's what you have to lock in, and obviously try and create those nets that will catch people trying to get that information from you. I did a Q&A yesterday, or an AMA rather, I should say, and people asking me, what's your middle name is one of the questions. And I was like, I will never give you that information.
My middle name was Suganda.
Uganda Sucktees. And the thing was, it's just, I know for me, when I first started off, it was a new experience in terms of Twitch, and I didn't know any of the pitfalls or anything like that. So I was quite open. And looking back, you realize how stupid that is, because what I thought was only going to be a moment in time is going to be forever captured in like a VOD or a clip or whatever people choose to take, So that's the biggest detriment when it comes to parasocial, is that what you think could be very innocent, people may take as, oh, they're giving me this information because they like me, or, we're on that level of being friends in real life if we ever meet. And you just really have to put your foot down and go, just know that this is not the case. Obviously, I'm a distraction. I'm a person on screen. You are but text on a screen to me. I don't know what your whole situation is, nor do I think I want to know that, because I can't help. What am I going to tell you? It'll be bad advice or bad information. So yeah, I guess when you do these big events, like as you said on the Discord or gaming, just make them know that this is just a fun gaming thing and not a we are friends in real life thing.
Well, I also think that I've talked about this a lot in the sense that it's funny because I think the people who do lean into it end up bigger, right? Like the people who do lean into it end up making a lot more money, and you see it, right? Like, and everyone has to make their own choices. I'm not judging or calling them out for it, but like, also it's gonna sound bad, but like, I just don't have the energy or time to like fake like a relationship with like people, right? Like obviously, like I care for other human beings, right? Like one of the only times I've been D's nuts was someone said that they just got back from the optometrist or something like that and had these issues, and they were a long time regular. And I said, man, I'm so sorry to hear that. That blows. Like that's awful, right? Like because I'm not a piece of shit. I'm gonna express, whatever. And they were like, haha, got you, D's nuts, you fucking bam, D's nuts me in chat with whatever it was. And I was like, you absolute piece of shit, right? Like I'm forever now going to never give a shit about you and your stuff.
because you're like, am I gonna get hit again? Yeah, he's just ruined it.
Oh, LJ, they just cut both my legs off, and I've just had all this terrible shit happen to me. Yeah. Oh, really? Well, you shouldn't have visited. Can you suck my balls?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, seriously. I'm like, I don't care. It's over. But I don't know. I feel it's a tough line to walk personally. I want to wrap up on one last thing before we scoot, if that's okay.
Of course.
I recently, this is a question on my behalf. I recently saw someone tweet out their stats from a bunch of different like time periods on Twitch, saying like it was like average viewers, time streamed, followers gained, and price, amount earned. And I was like sat there like, I wouldn't tweet you how much you've earned.
Yeah.
TOS. That's literally not allowed to be done. But either way, and they were like just streaming, focusing on TikTok clips, focusing on original TikToks, focusing on YouTube content. And they like showed like all the stats for each of the things when they were doing different strategies. And they've definitely grown the most with YouTube content. Okay. Granted, I think they've actually grown because they're still doing a bit of TikTok and like they're doing everything and they're diversified. And we all know diversification really helps. But I felt it was a really cool thing to show. But I felt it was a little disingenuous to just show it like that, because this person had also streamed like thousands and thousands of hours of Dead by Daylight, right? And then on YouTube, all they'd uploaded was Dead by Daylight content. Okay. So like they were like, yeah, I do off-platform content now. I'm at 250 average viewers, 300 average viewers, sometimes 400 average viewers, and I have over 2,000 subs this month, right? And I'm like, that's fucking sick, and I'm so happy for you, and I'm not having a go at you. But like all they do is Dead by Daylight. They do nothing else. And when they tried to do a similar game to Dead by Daylight, it was horror, it was all that stuff, in the same vein, they went down to having like 50, 60 average, right? So they lost like 250 average viewers down to like 50, 60. And again, I'm not having a go at them. That's variety versus singular and stuff like that. But man, I got to ask you guys, if you knew that you'd get to like 400, 500 average, you get 2,000 subs a day, would you literally just only stream the same game and only upload YouTube videos of the same game?
Again, it comes down to personal happiness, trying to be successful on a platform. Like if you could give this question to anyone, go, as you said, you're guaranteed to get this, and this if you only do the one thing, right? I think a lot of people would say, yeah, I'll do it because, I've got my foot in the door. I can diversify afterwards. But as you said, then it goes down to 50, 60 because people aren't there for that. For me, I've said this multiple times because people have always said the same thing to me. Reapz, why don't you just do the same thing? That's how you grow on Twitch and all that kind of stuff. We know it. But in terms of my own personal happiness and in terms of what gets me going, like to keep doing this for a long amount of time.
In the morning.
Yeah. These nuts.
What, that's normal.
Yeah,
it is. Like you revved your engine, you're hard, right? Like you're tough, alpha male. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I've put the lubricant oil into the engine and I'm ready to go, is what I'm saying.
You don't put it in the engine.
Yeah, put around there. So my main point is,
put it around the
I will do OnlyFans. No, my main point is I need to do something that's going to make me happy. And I know that it's terrible. It's terrible. To be variety on Twitch is terrible. But I don't think I would be...
YouTube.
Yeah. I don't think I'd be here today, or YouTube, as you said. I don't think I'd be here today if I stuck to the same thing, because I know me, I get bored. I hate doing the same thing over and over again, and I need to diversify in terms of what I play, what I do, how I project myself and things like that. So I mean, obviously, if I really needed it, if I'm low on everything like money, and I know that this is the only way that I can get recognized or, get that boost that I need, I would definitely consider doing the same game. But if you're asking me now, hell no, I can't do it. I would wake up feeling miserable that I've got to play this same game each and every day and only do content about this one game. Because as soon as that game goes or dies in interest, you got to start from scratch.
Yeah. I feel very similar. I have to play new stuff. I need to have new experiences. I want to showcase new experiences and new types of content. However, I'm in this sort of shift, and it's been going for a while now, where my content's balanced, where I'm definitely putting a major focus on Master Duel and Yu-Gi-Oh content in general, and we're also in the middle of shifting the Nictacular Plays YouTube channel to be more Yu-Gi-Oh centric as well, because there is a gap in there. There is a way to sort of break in, and it's a low barrier as well. It's as long as like your content is good and you're a bit consistent, you can actually break in and start to grow there on YouTube. And a lot of that will then filters back on Twitch as well. So I am putting some focus into that, but I am ensuring that at least once to twice a week, I am playing like something that isn't Yu-Gi-Oh. So for example, like this coming week, like I'm starting God of War, but I'm making sure that I'm doing at least one stream of God of War, to ensure to have some variety, because I don't want to be locked into just Yu-Gi-Oh Master Duel forever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna continue just kind of doing as well. That's why I was like Sundays are the Yu-Gi-Oh days, and then everything during the week was whatever my main game was at the time. And I felt like that's been a really good balance, where I'm kind of getting the benefits of focusing on one thing, but I'm still getting to play different games and getting that experience. So, because I'm the same as you, Reapz. I couldn't play just the same thing. As much as I do love Yu-Gi-Oh, I could not do that every single, week after week. I would end up being like, I want to play something else. I need to play something else.
And I want to make it clear that when we say this, it's not saying it's wrong that you play something you do love it that much that you want to continue playing and do content. It's just, for me, my personality, I'm all over the shop. I like variety. That's just me. But I know there are people who out there who play the same game, make the content for the same game, and that's great because they do really love it. I wish I could have that. I wish.
Yeah. Would you both feel this way, where it's like the fact that you do get to play different games and make different content, you feel like you grow as entertainers? I'm not saying that other people who play the same game don't. I'm just saying maybe from our perspectives, like, do you feel like you definitely grow as content creators by being, playing different stuff and making different content?
For me, yes.
Yeah.
No. I think if I didn't have to worry so much about what the game I was going to play was or what the core content was, I think I would develop much more interesting concepts. I look at Iona and I think she's an incredibly creative streamer, but I also think that she always knew every day that she was playing Animal Crossing. And when you get put in a sandpit and you know what tools you've been given, here's my sandpit, here are my buckets and my shovels and things like that, you get more and more proficient at using them and get more creative at creating things. But I think when you get put into a sandpit and every day it is different, what you've got, and you have to figure it out, or when you have to choose between 6 different sandpits and all sorts of stuff, I think that the choice and decision and the change means that you have to find new ways to be engaging and entertaining every time. And I think that's a big reason why a lot of people who are variety end up leaning into gimmicks, for example, like big alerts or like text-to-speech like I've got, or like overlays like I've got, and things like that, because there needs to be some sort of more than just playing a game, right? There has to be some sort of more than just playing a game. And when you're having to think up every single stream something that you have to play or do and figure out, well, then very quickly you can't keep coming up with new concepts every single thing for those. You know what I mean?
So you're saying that because of the source material is the same, you have to build around that. While you're saying if there's different source materials each and every day,
I think it's easier, right? If you once you know the ins and outs of something, you're able to lean into it better.
I completely agree with that. I think for me, it's more like I know that I thrive on improvisation. I lean into that. And I can't do that if I play the one game, because once I know the kind of ins and outs and I've got to do the same thing or have the same source material, I will get to a level where it's like, I think I've reached the capacity of what I can do with said game. I could do different cosplays. I could do different kind of videos.
I think you're missing. I think you're looking at yourself from the wrong angle though, because when you do horror content, Reapz, a lot of those indie horror games, I would still consider those horror indie games to be as if the same as someone only plays Animal Crossing.
Okay,
right?
so it's like a genre.
I think your indie horror game content is actually your best content personally, because I think it shows off your personality, and I think you're also so understanding of the types of content. Like, you know what the game's kind of like, what they'll throw at you in a way, or you know the quips to throw back at certain lines, and like you can kind of compare those things. Like, I think because you understand the format that you're going into, you make better content because you just fit the style and you're used to it, right? It's kind of like improv is, I agree that improv is great and you're still doing improv, right? But it's kind of like if you went on stage for a different play every night. You know what I mean? It's like you're kind of doing your best and going for it. But if you were like going on stage every night and the improv was, hey, okay, here's the improv, but every night we have the same prompt. You're going to be like, yeah, okay, I can get this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I know what I'm good at this. So I definitely agree that I think that like variety keeps us fresh and stuff like that. But I also think that to a degree, if you're always kind of in the same sandpit, you have the ability to get better and better and better and better.
Oh, yeah.
and
Jack of all trades,
explore
master
stuff.
of none. I know exactly what
Yeah.
you're saying. Yeah.
But also that the ending of that quote is, but better average at all than master at than bad at one or something like that, or master of one or something like that.
Yeah. So no, from what you're saying, there's also I also can agree with that point as well, very heavily. Like you get to like when you're confined in that box, you know where the edges are, and so then you're constantly thinking, how can I, in a way, think outside of the box within the box, if that makes sense. Like, how can I do so much within? Yeah.
I think when you just like, it's kind of the same as like when you're using editing software, right? If you pick up Premiere Pro for the first time, you are going to make probably a worse video than someone who picks up Premiere Pro for the 50th time or the 500th time. And when you become more proficient at something, you're able to do more with it. The same as when we all picked up OBS for the first time, we just had our stream probably and just threw it out there.
Yeah.
Whereas now we've all got big effects and overlays and things like that that pop up and do things, right? And that's because we're more proficient at it and we've stuck with the same software, right?
Yeah.
If we change between Streamlabs or Twitch Studio or this stuff, we might be less proficient at it, right? And I think that's a big one to think about. You know, if you look at someone like Point Crow, he changes games a lot between a lot of different Nintendo stuff, but it'll always kind of be the same overall wheelhouse. So he knows what he's going to be doing. Oh, I'm doing challenge games, which means, you know, these are the jokes that kind of fit. This is how it works, and natural with it, and you get more natural with it. But yeah, I don't know. I think that sometimes too intensely variety, I think actually makes me a worse entertainer. I think sometimes it's better, and this is different for everyone, obviously, but I think for me personally, to answer your question, Nick, I actually think that if I had a bit more consistency in what I do, I would become much funny. And I know I've done this before, because my Valheim streams, I was much more hilarious after a month of playing Valheim, and I was doing these mansion tours, and I know that my first mansion react tour was really bad, but my 20th mansion react tour was fucking hilarious, right? Like, I've got the Ryan, the guy in the suit, is like showing off how big the bath is, and he bends over to get into the bath, and I play a fart sound, you know what I mean? I'm like laughing, and like, I would never think to do that on my first one. But because I'm starting to get used to it, I'm thinking of new things. I hope this makes sense. I think it makes sense, but like, everyone's different. It
completely does. And I know exactly what you're saying. I think, if you go too intense variety, it's definitely like you go, oh, I'm playing Fortnite today, and then, tomorrow I'm playing, the Outer Wilds. So I think definitely,
Yeah, it's the thing of like, creativity holds no bounds, but it works better within boundaries. Because it's like, when you give it to Peter Jackson, here's like a $300 million movie. You can do anything you want, and you watch it and you're like, what the fuck is happening with King Kong? Why is he doing all this stuff? It's just there's no real vision for it. While with Lord of the Rings, obviously that's source material. They've got to work within these boundaries. This is the universe. Well, then it's just like, I can do whatever I want and people are going to go see it. So you're right there.
Reflecting on that for a second as well, I think I've kind of tried to do that as well. Like, I'm trying to focus on sort of like the more exploration type mystery puzzle solving, because those things really well. I can riff off that. I can, everyone gets to make fun of me how dumb I am, and it works. It ends up working really well. So like God of War, I think is going to be it's a bit more of a sidestep away from it, but I've wanted to play it, and a lot of people are excited to watch me play it, so I think it's going to be good. But yeah, a lot of those games, that's what I'm trying to sort of focus a bit more on, is like when it comes to the variety experience, it's going to be more of that kind of stuff. So no, it completely makes sense. And even though it might be a different game because it's a similar style to what I've played, like you said, LJ, I'm going to be able to have that experience ready to go. I know how I can riff and how I can let my ADHD take over and be like, what's that? What's this? So,
Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's more natural. I like the way you put it, Reapz. I took 5 minutes to explain, but yes, creativity is great, but when it actually works better and when you're kind of restrained a little bit, right?
I completely agree.
What can you make from this paper? Oh, a hat, a brooch, a pterodactyl.
Yeah. He's behind you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Anyway, boys, we are dropping frames. We need to wrap up. I took us a little bit longer. We were only supposed to do 90 minutes today, and I've taken us too long, so apologize.
No.
But
all good.
Any last thoughts? Any last words? Are you guys moving to YouTube with me?
I have been asked to move to YouTube by myself, and I said no because I'm all about the Twitch at the moment. But no, I do want to do more YouTube content. My last words are please give us more comments and things in down below. We know it's been a bit kind of trippy the past few weeks because we were away, and now we're back, and now we're syncing up. But the more Q&As, the better. Hope you like this new format as well. Do all the things that help us expand. But let us know. The best thing about doing this is reading your comments or seeing you in our chats and telling us that you love the pod, which happens on a weekly basis, which makes me feel oh so special. So please keep doing that.
Oh, should we start the call and response? We took a break from it for a while.
Yeah, okay. How about this? If someone has watched to this point, come into our chats and say the Hag of Hackett's Quarry 3 times. You got to say it 3 times.
Okay. And what's our
3
response?
separate messages or 3 times the same message?
And our response will be the Hag of Hackett's Quarry, the Hag of Hackett's. We're going to say it really fast 5 times without messing up.
Okay. So we'll repeat what they say, but really fast.
Quarry.
It's
the Hag of Hackett's Quarry.
You never guess what game it's from, Nick. The end word may be a problem. I'm
Detroit Become Human.
Wait, Until Dawn? Fall Guys?
Something.
Yeah, Fortnite.
Anyway, we are wrapping up. Come throw a little reference like that into our chats and let us know if you enjoyed the pods. And we'll be back next week.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.